Imagine it's the very end of December, late 1979. The daylight has gone, the shops shut hours ago, and the streets outside are quiet. Inside, though, the house feels anything but calm. Every room is crowded with neighbors, family friends, and people you barely nodded at all year. In the kitchen, your dad is bent over a large metal tin of beer, attacking it with tools that were never designed for the job. One wrong move, and it's going to explode all over the ceiling. This wasn't just another evening. This was New Year's Eve in 1970s Britain, and it meant something. Christmas belonged to the kids, but New Year was when the grown-ups finally relaxed. For one night, the entire country moved in sync. Everyone watched the same television channels, served the same food, and waited for the same clock to strike midnight. There were no dramatic countdowns, no citywide fireworks lighting up the sky, just a smoky living room, a glass of something fizzy in your hand, and the certainty that when the bells rang, millions of others were doing exactly the same thing. It was simple, familiar, and strangely powerful. Preparation started days earlier. Once the shops closed on New Year's Eve, that was it. Sometimes nothing reopened until the 3rd of January, so cupboards were filled to the brim. Tinned fish for sandwiches, crackers no one really liked but always bought anyway, bowls of crisps, and enough drink to last the night and beyond. Off-licenses were packed. Men queued with massive beer tins tucked under their arms, each one holding nearly 7 pints. Opening them was an art form. You needed a special opener, or more commonly, a hammer and screwdriver. 2 holes were required, one to pour, one to let air in. Get it wrong, and beer sprayed everywhere. Walls, curtains, someone's best shirt. Every party had that moment, followed by laughter and frantic searches for tea towels. While the men wrestled with beer tins, the women had their own drinks ready. Babachum made its appearance, sparkling perry served in delicate glasses, each decorated with a tiny plastic cherry. It felt glamorous, even if it tasted overly sweet. Sitting by the fire with a glass in hand, it gave a sense of occasion. Then there was Cinzano, red or white, always diluted with lemonade. The adverts made it look sophisticated, but in reality it was sugary and dangerous because it went down far too easily. By the time midnight approached, someone's aunt was usually laughing louder than everyone else, insisting she'd barely touched a drop. Snowballs followed, advocaat mixed with lemonade, thick, yellow, and topped with a cherry. It looked impressive and tasted like dessert in liquid form. Kids were given lemonade in proper glasses, feeling grown-up, desperately trying to stay awake until the bells. The buffet took hours to prepare. From early morning, kitchens were busy. The centerpiece was always the hedgehog, a grapefruit, orange, or even a potato wrapped in foil, stabbed all over with cocktail sticks holding cubes of cheese and chunks of tinned pineapple. Sweet and savory felt exciting back then. Children hovered nearby, grabbing the cheese and leaving the fruit behind. By late evening, it looked like it had survived a battle. Vol vents came next. Puff pastry shells filled with mushroom paste or tinned chicken. These were considered fancy, proper party food, usually bought from Marks and Spencer and carefully arranged on the good plates. They vanished within minutes. Cold sausage rolls, pork pies cut into pieces, ham sandwiches with the crust still on, bowls of crisps passed from hand to hand. Nothing extravagant, just enough to keep everyone going. Waiting patiently in the fridge was the trifle. You could see every layer through the glass bowl, sponge soaked in sherry, tinned fruit with unnaturally bright cherries, wobbling jelly, thick custard, and whipped cream scattered with hundreds and thousands. No one touched it until after midnight. That was the rule. By late afternoon, Woolworths had turned into chaos. Families rushed in before closing time, grabbing party poppers, paper streamers, and flimsy cardboard hats held together with elastic that snapped the moment you put them on. The pick and mix counter was swarmed, paper bags overfilled with cola bottles and chocolate limes. Then the shutters came down. The high street went dark. Nothing reopened until January. That was it. The television controlled the evening. There was no recording, no pausing, no second chances. Miss a program and it was gone forever. Radio times lay open on the coffee table, pages marked, arguments breaking out over what to watch. 3 channels. That was all. And on New Year's Eve, no matter where you lived, the TV turned Scottish. Kilts, accordions, variety acts, and familiar faces filled the screen. Hogmanay celebrations dominated. The jokes were questionable, the music relentless, but everyone watched. Somehow it worked. As midnight approached, the house grew warmer. Bodies packed together raised the temperature, cigarette smoke hanging thick in the air. Everyone smoked. Pipes, cigarettes, ashtrays overflowing. The smell clung to clothes for days. The front door kept opening, letting icy air rush in as more guests arrived. Coats piled high upstairs, nobody leaving early, because leaving before midnight on New Year's Eve was unthinkable. Some men slipped out earlier for one quick pint. One became several. They returned unsteady to unimpressed wives. Pubs were overflowing, decorations decades old, fires roaring, the landlord pulling pint after pint. Closing time was flexible. It was New Year's Eve, after all. Back at home, your dad checked his watch repeatedly. Missing midnight was unthinkable. The volume went up. Glasses were refilled. Children were allowed to stay awake, fighting sleep. Then the bells began. There was no counting down from 10. You waited. You listened. When Big Ben struck the first chime, the room erupted. Kisses, hugs, handshakes, glasses raised. Shouts of Happy New Year filled the house. Then came the song. Everyone stood in a circle, arms crossed, hands clasped, swaying as they sang Auld Lang Syne. The words were half forgotten but somehow known. Doors and windows opened wide, letting the old year out and the new one in. You could hear the whole street singing along. After midnight came first footing. Groups wandered through the streets, knocking on doors, welcomed in for a quick drink. Tradition said the first visitor should be a dark-haired man, bringing coal, salt, and whiskey. No one truly believed it, but no one risked ignoring it either. You ended up in houses you'd never visited before, sitting on unfamiliar sofas, eating leftover buffet food, talking until the early hours. The cold didn't matter. Sleep didn't matter. This night was special. New Year's Day arrived quietly, grey skies, empty streets, curtains drawn, Britain recovering, nothing open, no buses. Just silence. Your mum was usually the first up, starting a roast, pork or leftovers stretched a bit further. The smell slowly woke the house. Your dad slept in his chair, television on but muted, showing the Vienna New Year's concert that nobody watched. Later, you were dragged outside for a brisk walk, wrapped in your new Christmas scarf. The pavements were empty except for other families doing the same. Quiet nods, no conversation. Back home, decorations came down. The tree was packed away. Christmas was officially over. Work loomed. Normal life returned within days. But the feeling lingered. New Year's Eve in the 1970s wasn't glamorous. No fireworks over landmarks. No celebrity countdowns. Just 3 TV channels, overfilled living rooms, a giant beer tin that usually went wrong, and neighbors singing together at midnight. But it mattered, because when everyone watched the same programs, shared the same food, and sang the same song at the exact same moment, it created something rare, a sense of togetherness. The beer wasn't great. The Babachem was too sweet. The cheese and pineapple hedgehog was ridiculous, but it belonged to us. If this brought back memories for you, share your favorite New Year's moment from the 70s. Did your family do first footing? Did someone ruin the ceiling opening a party 7? Were you the one stealing all the cheese? This is Brit Retro, and we're here to keep these moments alive. Subscribe, and let's remember them together.